Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to our Fishing Lakes apiary, and today we're going to take a look at a couple of nukes that we've been trying to build up in preparation for the autumn and winter. And if you've seen our Patreon channel, you will have seen the progress that we've made with these colonies, and in fact I think we posted a video to YouTube showing moving a couple of frames across to try and help bolster the numbers in one of these colonies. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, then do consider subscribing, and we'll send you notifications every time we post a new video. And also do take a look at our Patreon page, where we have in excess of 850 videos covering a wide range of beekeeping techniques. So we've, just to recap, carried out shook swarms on these colonies. So we've taken a full-size colony, shaken bees into a nuke box, added a new queen in a cage, introduced her to that colony, fed them, and for the last month have watched them grow and develop. Some, as with most things in nature, grow faster than the others, and we found one that was particularly small and wanted to help that along its way and try and build it up a little bit quicker. So we took a frame, maybe two frames, I can't remember, from a healthy colony. And remember, if you're moving any frames between hives, you must make sure that they're healthy colonies. And we've added them to the weaker colony, and it's just behind the camera actually, and I'm looking at it and there's lots of bees flying. We're mid-September, the sun is shining. Here in Norfolk we've got some glorious weather coming up for the next fortnight, and it's really going to give us an opportunity to take one more look at these nukes, give them some more food, and hopefully have them set ready for the winter. So let's stop talking and go over to the nuke, and we'll show you this, the weaker one first, and then we'll go through into the apiary and have a look at the stronger one and see how they've coped with having that frame removed. So with any luck, this colony has been able to use the extra frame that we gave them, which had, as it transpired, I think if it was just the one, I can't remember to be honest, if it were just the one, I did notice that there were some eggs in it, and what I tried to do was to give them just a frame of sealed brood, because they can cope far better with dealing with sealed brood than having to look after any eggs and very young larvae. So we've been feeding them fondant because we have lots and lots of fondant, and it just makes sense to use that rather than buying in extra food. And this colony has done quite well in using the fondant. These are BS Honeybee's nuke boxes with a 14 by 12 extension on them, so we've got a little bit of fondant left there. So we're just going to have a look. So they've got two frames that they're not yet working on, so still got foundation. So there's the other one, just to show you the other frame, and then we're actually into frames that they are working, albeit only on one side. So we have an option here of maybe, and these were very, very small, we've got an option of maybe giving them another frame from another colony that's really strong, because we want them to build up and be strong enough to go through the winter, and for that they do need to have a kind of critical mass of workers to keep everything ticking over. So this was the frame that we gave them, and as you can see we've got sealed brood here. I'm just going to look on this side, and this side we've got eggs and sealed brood. There isn't any, well, there's one or two cells that have some larvae in, but generally looks like it's just eggs and brood. So we'll have a look at this final frame. You it might mean we did have some quite chilly weather, and it could potentially have resulted in a brood break. So we might have had a situation where the queen stopped laying because of the weather conditions. And I think that's probably what's happened, because in this frame we don't really have any brood of a broad range of age. So we've got eggs, and we've got slightly older larvae, and obviously you can probably see the capped cells, but we don't have any very young larvae. So I think what's happened is over the last week or so, and our queen is on this frame, over the last week or so maybe, we've had a situation where the queen has stopped laying because of the conditions. So there's our queen. She seems happy enough, but they are still quite small. So I think what we'll do is have a look at some of our other nukes, see if we've got any that are really strong, and we can maybe supplement these with a frame of sealed brood. But let's go and have a look at the colony, and it was only one frame that we took, so let's go and have a look at the colony that we took that frame of eggs and young larvae from, and see how they're doing. So this is our stronger colony. They had far more bees in them and were working really strongly. They'd built quite a number of frames of brood and food. We've given them lots of food, as we have all of the colonies, all of the nukes that we've created, and you can probably see that they're still working. These have had an extra pack of food stores. Let's see if we can get this feeder off. So there you can see the bees feeding on the fondant in the feeder, doing really nicely. The fondant has been really well received by the bees this year. They've taken lots of stores down, and it's undoubtedly helped them build lots of comb as they've kind of developed this new colony. So let's have a look. Well, just looking down at it there, right the way across this box, so we may well end up using this colony once more. That's a nice example of a frame that you could use. So I'm automatically looking at the bees to make sure that they're healthy. It's really important that, as I said earlier, that we are only taking frames from colonies that are healthy. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but we've got some slightly darker cappings here. It's not actually the cappings that are dark, it's the bees within those cells that are developing and are emerging. So we've got quite a lot of cells that are about to emerge, and that would be ideal to give to our other colony. And it's the same on this side as well. So we've got quite a large patch of emerging brood here. So I'm immediately thinking that this frame could be the one that we're going to use with our other weaker colony. It's obviously important that you don't take too many frames from a colony to supplement others, because you'll end up weakening that strong colony. So there is a balance to be struck, and now is the right time to think about what you're going to do and get it done before the weather changes back to some inclement weather, and we're then into winter proper, well, certainly the autumn weather where we have those colder days, and then on into winter. So this frame has young larvae in the central area here, and then there are some eggs to one side, and on the flip side, just tilting it towards me so I can look in. This side we also have eggs, so you probably will notice that there's some cells that are capped around the edge here. These are emerging bees, so there's one or two where the cells are just starting to, the cappings are starting to break, and the adult bees within will emerge probably within a matter of hours. So this wouldn't be a frame that I would want to pass over, because our weaker colony would have to actually work a lot harder to manage this frame than they would the first frame that we looked at. So another frame of mixed brood and larvae. Lots of stores coming in, just tilting the frame towards me to look into the cells. It's noticeable actually that there aren't so many drones around right now. It looks as if a lot of drones have been kicked out, and we're now in that position where we'll end up with just workers in our colonies going through the winter, and of course their queen. And that will be the case until we get through to the spring next year. A nice frame of capped brood. So these bees are doing really well. Another nice frame of capped brood, and this would be a frame that we could potentially use. So that's another one. So that's 4 frames of brood that we have in this colony. And then finally we're into it's a very small patch of brood here, but I think once this brood emerges it's going to be backfilled with stores, so I don't think we'll see any more brood in there. And the same here, there's a tiny little patch of brood here, but I think once that is emerged, that will be backfilled with stores. And finally the frame on the end here, as you would expect, is all stores. And here's our queen running around on the bottom of that frame, so we just have to be mindful that we don't damage our queen when we pop this frame back. So we'll get her back in fairly quickly. It's a delicate time of year for queens, so we don't want to do any damage to the queens, because, as I mentioned earlier, there are fewer and fewer drones around to be able to mate with any virgin queens, and so any damage that's done to any queen now and either kills her or irreparably damages her, and the bees decide they need to make a new queen, will result in the potential for a drone laying queen over the summer, over the winter. So it's really important that we try to look after the queens, and you really ought to be inspecting now only if you have an absolute necessary reason for going in, maybe to check that they are queen right, for instance, or to check whether or not you've got a drone laying queen, that kind of thing. Maybe you think you've got a disease problem. That would be another reason for inspecting. But for food, you can simply heft the back of the hive. So you can grab the back of the hive and just lift it and feel the weight of it, and that will give you a really good indication as to whether or not you've got enough food in there. So this first frame we're going to use with our other colony. Now we don't want to take these bees across with us, so we're going to shake these bees off onto the top bars here, and that's a very straightforward process. Fingers under the lugs of the frame and just shake down. The bees will come off. You can see the bees, they've got a good soaking of nectar there, and then this frame can go across to our weaker colony, and then we'll pop a frame of foundation in here, and this colony will undoubtedly draw that one again for us. So we've got our frame to go into our weaker colony, and we'll take one of these frames of foundation and give that to our very strong colony. And I want to pop this frame over at this side nearest me, and that will hopefully give the bees a real boost. So on this frame you can probably see that we have a worker just about to emerge from her cell, and this colony will accept her into their colony. There's not going to be any fighting, and she will go to work fairly quickly. And you can see we've got lots of darker cells here. All of those bees will emerge shortly and really boost the numbers within this colony. So it's a really good technique to use when you're looking to just build up a colony and get it ready for either the winter, or if in the spring you've got a colony that you want to increase numbers in and build up its strength, ready maybe for foraging. So there we are. Please do take a look at our Patreon page if you're interested in checking out lots more of our content, and don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and if you have any comments then do pop them beneath the video and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. We'll catch up next time. Thanks for watching.